Welcome back to another Explainer, where we take massive complex ideas and break them down into something you can really wrap your head around. Today, we've got a truly fascinating animated journey ahead of us. We're looking at how academic institutions, the places literally responsible for building our future workforce, adapt to insanely rapid technological shifts. I mean, we always talk about how tech changes, but how do universities keep up? Well, we're going to explore a groundbreaking paper that breaks down 15 years of curriculum evolution. And honestly, the best part? We get to see this whole highly technical shift come to life through one of the most brilliant, delicious cultural metaphors you could possibly imagine.
So I have to ask, what on earth does an electrical engineering degree have in common with a bowl of ramen? I know, it sounds kind of absurd at first, right? But stick with me here because this slightly quirky question is actually going to completely challenge how you think about modern education.
Okay, let's dive right in. Our case study for this explainer is Thammasat University's iPen program. That's the Integrated Program of Engineering. The researchers behind this study proposed this amazing overarching metaphor. Adapting to Industry 4.0 is exactly like the evolution of ramen culture. Just think about ramen for a second. It didn't just stay as some basic noodle soup. It adapted to different regions, different eras, and totally new tastes in Japan, all while keeping its core identity completely intact. And in that exact same way, a really effective modern engineering curriculum doesn't just toss out its core roots. It adapts. It integrates new elements to fit what the world actually needs.
To really see how this works, we're going to map out a 15-year timeline. We'll trace this incredible evolution across three very distinct eras: the foundation era in 2011, the expansion era in 2018, and finally, the adaptive era in 2023.
Let's start with our first stop, the foundation era, building the strong broth. Flashback to 2011. The big challenge back then was figuring out how to actually integrate electrical engineering with industrial engineering. The Thai industrial sector was practically begging for engineers who didn't just know the textbook theory, but really understood how to manage a factory floor. The researchers compared the specific era to traditional ramen. Think about a classic bowl of ramen for a second. It absolutely requires a robust, rock-solid broth. That broth is the foundation. Without it, the whole dish falls apart. In 2011, the iPen curriculum had to be that strong broth. They needed an integrated base combining the raw technical power of electrical engineering with the operational know-how of industrial engineering.
And here is exactly how they built that foundation. Look right there in the center, at the birth of the program. They took the absolute essentials of electrical engineering, things like power systems, electronics, control systems, and they purposefully mashed them up with industrial engineering concepts like production and quality control. This meant graduates weren't just walking out with theoretical knowledge, they had the actual practical management skills that real-world factories were looking for. They were building a totally reliable, essential base. Moving right along to 2018, the expansion era, adding new flavors.
So by 2018, the digital landscape was shifting rapidly right under our feet. The traditional engineering broth was strong, for sure, but to survive in a digital world, it needed a serious kick. Enter the concept of fusion ramen. Just like a fusion ramen chef starts tossing in exciting new flavors and creative blends to expand the dish, the university realized they needed to creatively blend in modern digital technologies. But, and this is absolutely crucial, it wasn't just about blindly throwing new tech at the students. It was about integrating an innovation mindset directly into that existing strong foundation.
Now, what's really cool here is how you can literally see those new toppings in action. That original engineering core from 2011 is still sitting pretty right there in the middle. But check out the surrounding elements. Boom! They introduced all these flexible electives: artificial intelligence, IoT, cloud computing, automation. And they didn't stop there. They added modules for design thinking and tech entrepreneurship. They were actively expanding these students' horizons, transforming them from traditional engineers into creative problem solvers ready for smart industries. Which brings us to our third stop, the adaptive era, the personalized ecosystem.
Of course, the world didn't stop changing. Transitioning into 2023, post-COVID, demanded a massive, radical structural shift. It just wasn't enough to sprinkle on some new tech toppings anymore. The whole restaurant needed a remodel. The researchers compare this leap to fine dining ramen. In a fine dining setup, the experience is highly personalized, super refined, and the potential is basically limitless. The curriculum had to evolve the exact same way. It shifted into this customized, modern framework based on outcome-based education, or OBE, creating a totally adaptive ecosystem with flexible pathways for every single learner. Here is that ultimate evolution. Just look at how radically different this structure is compared to where we started in 2011. Because it's an outcome-based education model, the entire focus shifted from what are we teaching to what can the student actually do. Notice how AI and data analytics aren't just fun electives anymore. They're integrated core competencies. Plus, students can now navigate their own flexible pathways. Want to study abroad? Take a long-term internship? Launch your own startup? Go for it. It became a fully realized living, breathing learning architecture.
Up next, let's talk about the logistics. Managing complexity, the kitchen engine.
So you got to wonder, right? How does a university possibly manage this massive, adaptive, fine dining kitchen without the whole thing completely falling apart? Moving to outcome-based education across multiple disciplines is just incredibly difficult to pull off. To solve this, they introduced the C2C framework. That stands for complexity to clarity. Think of this as the conceptual engine running behind the scenes. It was built specifically to manage these cross-disciplinary curriculums, making sure all the different chefs in the kitchen are communicating and the menu actually works.
The C2C framework breaks down into 5 simple, continuous steps. Step 1, explore. You've got to deeply understand the system. Step 2, focus. Identify your top priorities. Step 3 is clarify, and this one's huge. It's all about getting professors from totally different academic backgrounds on the exact same page. Step 4, transform. Actually implement the action. And step 5, evolve. This ensures continuous adaptation. It's this constant loop of feedback that keeps the whole curriculum dynamic and prevents it from ever going stale.
Finally, let's wrap this up, the future conclusion, beyond the syllabus.
As we bring this 15-year animated journey to a close, we really have to step back and ask what this all means for the future. I absolutely love this quote from the source material. Future engineering curriculum development should focus not only on integrating new technologies, but also on designing and managing adaptive learning systems. That hits the nail on the head. Future-proofing education is not about hastily rewriting a syllabus every single time a new microchip comes out. It's about building a living ecosystem that can gracefully handle whatever comes next.
And that brings us to our final provocative thought for this explainer. As you look at the institutions, the businesses, or even your own personal learning habits, ask yourself this: are we just adding new technologies to old systems, crossing our fingers and hoping they stick like mismatched toppings? Or are we actually doing the hard work to change the entire ecosystem from the ground up? Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this deep dive. And remember, always keep questioning the systems around you.